All right, War 3. We've matched Salty. We knew we were going to. They left S99 open, so naturally I'm going to be bringing S99. And Salty is probably our biggest competition. I mean, granted, there are other alliances that are our competition as well, but Salty gives us the most, I don't know, the hardest fight, I guess you could say. They're a great alliance, great officers, great defense, so we know that we have to be at our absolute best if we want a chance at beating them, and so that's what we're going to try to do here today. Starting out on path 2, I have this Sorcerer Supreme, and with S99 versus Tactic, it's a really fun time. I never have to pause my debuffs because every time I make contact with them, I get a placebo, and that just pauses them for me. So I don't know. It's like Spidey 99 gone wild, I swear. She's never going to get power because she gains passive power, just like Sim Supreme and whatnot, Doctor Strange, and I have my Wither on her. So it's kind of a joke of a fight, but it's going to be a very fast one. Now, in total in this war, I'm going to end up doing 8 mastery swaps. Basically a mastery swap per fight. So I swapped to Suicides for this Mantis fight here, and I'm going to do my first 3 fights the same night that War started, just to get them out of the way, because I needed Egg to place an Odin on Domino for me, because I'm going to be taking her on EMP with Warlock, and I didn't want to have to try and coordinate that with him the next day, so I figured I'd make it easy for him and just clear up to her the night before so that he could do it whenever he finished his fights, and had the time to do it, just to make things easy. So my plan for this one, bait heavies. I don't want it to throw a special 1. If she's going to throw any special, I want it to be a special 2. And the sadist on this node, man, along with the recoil, I end up taking a decent amount of damage with Warlock. I didn't think that 1 debuff would be that big of a deal, but I mean, it gives her 50% attack per debuff, so it did end up being quite a bit, actually. Now, next up is this Claire, and this fight's going to go down pretty much the same as Sorcerer. Now, she is going to throw a special in this one, but it's going to be a very, very fast fight, just because I'm pausing my debuffs constantly. I don't think I'm actually going to go for blocked hits in this fight at all. Just because Claire's AI tends to be relatively aggressive, so it doesn't really work for S99. She always wants to come running in, so I figured I would just go for specials, regular hits, and then she's going to end up launching her special 2 here, and then that's going to be it for her. And now we have Domino on EMP. So I put an invuln on, and I'm going to treat this fight the same as the old Spite Domino. I don't know if anybody recalls that. Path 7, first node, S2. Everyone used to place Domino on Spite there. So this node has Prey on the Weak. Whenever a debuff falls off, she gets 8% of her max power. So it's essentially kind of like the same node. The thing is, you have to assume that you're going to get special 3'd. So that's what the invuln's for, and you don't want to lose the invuln. Now, I went to throw my special 2 twice in that series of events that just happened before she special 3's me here. And both times, the special just didn't throw. At this point in the war, it was like 120 to 120, 0 to 0. And things were pretty intense. Everybody was swapping masteries to make their fights faster, because about 1/3 of the way through the war, we saw that they were faster than us. So we started making adjustments to speed the assignments that we had up, and we started swapping some to make them faster. And all in all, it ends up paying off, but it was still a very nerve-wracking time in the war. Next up here, I have this Rintrah on a high energy diet, and I'm actually going to be doing this fight with half suicides on and max coagulation, or coag, whatever the fuck you call it, to make the bleed hurt me less, basically. And I'm going to be doing that to try and make this fight quicker than it otherwise normally would, just because we knew that time was going to be a factor in this war. And luckily we started planning for it pretty early on. I'm not sure if it actually sped this fight up, though, because I've never done this fight before, so I can't compare the two. But I decided not to just do blocked hits, to go for specials and regular hits as well, and to just watch his mystical charges. Keep knocking him down after specials, even though I didn't need to there. And I want to try to just bait special ones out of him, and it's pretty much the gist of this one. Next up, I have Bishop on Conflictor. So I have a white mags on, and I wasn't sure if this Bishop had willpower or not, but because I wasn't going to be stunning him with a regular debuff, I was like, nah, I'll find out one way or another, because the plan is pretty much the same as Domino. I have an invuln on. I'm going to be doing 4-hit combos and turtling so that he heavies, doesn't throw a special, and then I'm going to be working to my special 2, and I'm just going to be cycling special 2s. And I figured if he happens to reach a special 3 because he doesn't have willpower, I'll just tank it, because Bishop's special 3 doesn't really do anything. But it turns out that he did have willpower, so he's never actually going to get there, and a couple of special 2s, and he's done. Alright, next up is going to be the sloppiest, weirdest, all over the place Mangog fight that I've ever done. So from the Domino fight to here, we were like 120, 125 and 0 at that point. So I was pretty nervous, as most of us were, as I'm sure most of the salty guys who still had fights left were. And my hands were getting clammy, I guess you could say, from the nerves. And so I go to throw a special 2 earlier in this fight. It didn't throw, so I had to bait out that special 1 first. And then, I don't know, I wasn't sure what to do in this fight, because without having to pause your debuffs, it was weird to me. Things just didn't feel smooth. So, and I'm actually going to throw an accidental relic in this fight as well. And as soon as it happened, I decided that during the boss fight, as soon as I got the relic power built up and ready to go, I was going to use it. I wasn't going to hold on to it, because the last thing I wanted to have happen was an accidental relic during a boss fight and having it fuck me. So right there, I resisted that heavy, thank God. I've gotten heavied by this dude before. It's not fun. It hurts quite a bit. So I'm going to take a break after this fight. And during that break, I'm going to practice dueling Photon. I actually used Deathly's profile for it. And in between dueling, I'm just going to be chilling. And so pretty much during my duels, I simulated this boss fight. I simulated hitting her block, pushing her to special 1, baiting the special 1, dexing it, and then punishing it with 1 hit. And I tried to make them last as long as possible to try and simulate the boss fight. And then after I practiced for a bit and used all my duel credits, I felt relatively comfortable. I already felt comfortable with her animations, but just because of the nature of the war, I wanted to make sure that I got everything right. And once I did, I used all my duels. I played some Legos with my daughter, actually, to like calm down and chill out. And that actually helped a lot. We defeated the bad acorn. It was a lot of fun. And his skeleton henchmen. With the legendary sword and the ancient hockey stick. So, plan for this fight. Only push her to special 1. I have Dex off, because with Dex off, you can Dex her specials in Pure of Light. because her Pure of Light forms like removes your dex ability, so other champions would basically eat a special, but Spidey can avoid it. I think he's one of, if not the only champ that can, and it's pretty much an S99 fight. I don't want to take blocked hits, so I don't want to bait heavies, because with debuffs on, she hits super fucking hard through block. Like, there's one point right there, I parried that, and it was like, I think it was like 10% health right there. So that hurt, and I want to try to avoid that. And basically, bait special ones, punish them, use my special too, and build my ruptures, and just don't get hit. It's going to be a long fight, but it's going to be a very safe fight. I have max inequity, and I have resonate on, so hopefully that makes her hits less than they normally would. Well, I mean, it will, but it's definitely a very scary fight, I'll tell you that much. Doing a boss fight in a war like this with everything on the line, it's exhilarating, scary, exciting, all of that shit all at the same time. It's a fucking ton of emotions, but it was also a lot of fun. So I'm gonna let this one finish out, and I'll come back when it's all done and finished. Alright, so we ended up winning this one. It's the third time that GT and Salty have gone 0-0, and I have to give a huge shout out to the officer team at GT. From a third of the way into the war, once we realized that they were faster than us and that it could come down to time, they were all reaching out to players, changing assignments, telling who to use half suicides for, full suicides for, and just being on top of everything. And without that type of dedication and that work, this outcome would not have been possible for us. So a huge shout out to them, and a huge shout out to everybody at GT who took risks in order to speed our time up, and everybody who did their job, the whole fucking alliance. Y'all are a bunch of fucking beasts. And also a huge shout out to Salty. You guys are one hell of an alliance. This was a super exciting war to be a part of. We've now made history in this game 3 times, which is pretty fucking crazy. And I wish you guys good luck for the rest of the season. This particular win felt really fucking good after the last season that we had, with all the issues we had last season, and just things weren't going right for us. It felt really fucking good to have things go right for us again, and to be on top of things again, and to reach this outcome. So yeah, just very, very exciting. But that's all she wrote for now. Thank you very much for watching.